The bulldozer's roar hit me like a punch to the gut, tearing through the morning quiet like a chainsaw through silk. 80 years I'd walked this land, and now some HOA tyrant thought she could rip it out from under me by noon. Half my garden was gone, and I was ready to fight. My name's Amos Whitaker, and I've lived on this 2-acre plot in Willow Creek since FDR was in office. Born here in 1945, raised in the same clapboard house my daddy built, and buried my wife, Clara, under the oak tree out back. This land isn't just dirt, it's my blood, my sweat, my everything. The neighborhood changed over the decades. Cookie-cutter houses sprouted, families moved in, and suddenly, we had an HOA. I never joined, never needed to. My deed predates their bylaws by half a century, and I kept to myself, tending my roses and minding my own business. Until Karen McAllister showed up. Karen swept into Willow Creek 6 months ago. A self-proclaimed visionary elected HOA president, faster than you can say power trip. She was all smiles at first, perfectly highlighted hair, designer sunglasses, and a clipboard she wielded like a scepter. She'd knock on doors, preaching about community standards and property values. I'd wave her off from my porch, but she'd linger, eyeing my untamed yard like it was a personal insult. "Mr. Whitaker," she'd say, voice dripping with fake sweetness. "We're modernizing the neighborhood. You should consider joining us." I'd grunt and go back to my coffee. My land was mine, free and clear, and no HOA rulebook could touch it. Or so I thought. It started small. A letter in my mailbox demanding I trim my hedges to regulation height, then a fine for my unapproved mailbox, a rusty relic from the 70s that still worked fine. I tossed the letters in the trash, but Karen didn't quit. She'd drive by in her shiny SUV, jotting notes, her lips pursed like she'd smelled something foul. Neighbors whispered about her initiatives, fines for unwashed cars, bans on backyard chickens, even a crusade against unsightly garden gnomes. She was building her little empire, and my property, the last holdout, was her white whale. One Tuesday, I woke to a certified letter nailed to my door like a damn eviction notice. Karen's signature scrawled at the bottom, claiming my back acre, my orchard. My wife's memorial garden was undeveloped HOA territory due to some obscure zoning clause. She'd filed a claim with the county, asserting the HOA had eminent domain over neglected land. Neglected, I'd planted every tree, every rose bush, with my own hands. The letter gave me 30 days to comply or lose it. I laughed at first, pure nonsense. My deed, signed in 1943, was ironclad. But then I saw the county's stamp. She wasn't bluffing. I marched to the HOA meeting that night, deed in hand, ready to shut her down. The community center was packed, neighbors shifting uncomfortably as Karen stood at a podium, her smile sharp as a blade. I raised my hand, voice steady. "Miss McAllister, you've got no claim to my land. I've owned it since before you were born." I held up the deed, yellowed but legal. Murmurs rippled through the room. Karen didn't flinch. "Mr. Whitaker, your property is a blight on our community's progress. The HOA has every right to reclaim unused land for the greater good. The greater good she wanted to bulldoze my orchard for a community park with her name on it." I left the meeting fuming, promising to fight her in court. But Karen didn't wait for court. 2 weeks later, I woke to the growl of machinery. I stumbled outside, still in my slippers, and saw a bulldozer ripping through my orchard, apples and pears crushed under its treads. My rose garden, Clara's pride and joy, was half gone, petals scattered like confetti in a nightmare. Karen stood there, arms crossed, directing the crew like a general. "You can't do this," I shouted, voice cracking. She turned, cool as ice. "It's already done. Amos, this is HOA property now." I felt my heart seize, not from age but from rage. 80 years. And this woman thought she could erase it with a clipboard and a contractor. I grabbed my shovel, not to fight, but to protect what was left. Neighbors gathered, phones out, filming the chaos. Karen screamed about trespassing and legal rights, but I wasn't listening. I planted myself in front of the bulldozer, daring it to move. The driver hesitated, but Karen waved him on. That's when the twist came. A kid, no older than 16, pushed through the crowd. It was Timmy, the paper boy who'd been delivering to my house for years. He'd overheard Karen at the county office, bragging about forging documents to fast-track her claim. She bribed someone, Timmy yelled, holding up his phone with a shaky recording of her voice. The crowd gasped. Karen's face went white, her confidence cracking like cheap glass. The bulldozer stopped. Neighbors turned on her, demanding answers. I didn't need to say a word. Timmy's recording did the talking. Karen stammered, claiming it was a misunderstanding, but the crowd wasn't buying it. Someone called the sheriff, and within minutes, deputies were on the scene, cuffing Karen as she shrieked about her rights. The bulldozer sat silent, a mangled chunk of my orchard at its feet. I looked at the wreckage, Clara's roses, my apple trees, and felt a hollow ache. But I also felt the weight of my deed in my pocket, heavier than ever. The aftermath was brutal for Karen. The county launched an investigation, and her forged documents unraveled faster than her reputation. The HOA board ousted her, and lawsuits piled up from neighbors she'd bullied. My land's safe, for now. I replanted what I could, but some things, Clara's roses, the orchard's heart, were gone forever. The neighborhood rallied, helping me rebuild, and Timmy became a local hero. Karen, last I heard, she'd moved across state lines, dodging legal fees and glares from former friends. Standing on my porch now, I look at the scarred earth and feel the sting of what was lost, but I also feel the fire of what I fought for. This land is mine, earned through decades of love and labor, and no Karen with a power trip can take that away. What do you think? Ever dealt with someone trying to steamroll what's yours? Share your story below.